Starting at 18th place, Unfogging the Future, the book that proves divination is just anxiety with incense. This is a standard divination textbook meant to teach students how to interpret tea leaves, crystal balls, and vague doom without panicking. In theory. In practice, it convinces half the class they're about to die before lunch. The book is full of symbolic disasters, dark shapes, broken lines, and ominous shadows, which Professor Trelawney treats as academic discussion and students treat as a personal threat. Hogwarts allows it because divination is considered mostly harmless, assuming you don't take it too seriously. The forbidden element isn't dark magic, it's psychological damage. This book doesn't curse you, it plants ideas. And once a teenager thinks fate is sealed, chaos usually follows. Hogwarts keeps it on the curriculum because not all danger is magical. Some of it is just badly interpreted homework. Moving into 17th place, Death Omens. What to do when you know the worst is coming. Comforting title, no notes. This book specializes in identifying signs of impending death, including grim sightings, falling objects, mysterious chills, and conveniently anything slightly unusual. It's meant as a reference guide, but it mostly functions as a panic accelerator. Harry encounters this book during divination lessons, where it immediately convinces everyone that seeing a black dog means you're doomed. Hogwarts keeps it because understanding omens is part of magical education. They do not keep it because it's helpful. The forbidden edge here is subtle. The book treats death as inevitable. No countermeasures, no reassurance, just this is happening, prepare accordingly. Hogwarts allows it because banning books about death doesn't stop students from thinking about it, but maybe less detail would have been fine. At number 16, the Standard Book of Spells, Grade 7. Yes, really. By 7th year, Hogwarts officially stops pretending. This book introduces advanced combat spells, powerful charms, and magic that can permanently injure if misused. Stunning, shielding, binding. This is no longer feather-floating territory. The reason it lands on this list is context. By grade 7, students are legally adults, emotionally unstable, and living during a wizarding war. This book hands them real power and assumes responsibility will magically appear alongside it. The spells inside are regulated but effective. They're designed for real-world threats, not exams. That makes this book quietly dangerous. Hogwarts keeps it mandatory because ignorance is worse. But the jump from textbooks to battlefield readiness is abrupt, and suddenly homework fights back. Now, at 15th place, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Early Editions. The version where the footnotes were more dangerous than the creatures. Early editions of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them were enthusiastic. Before regulation, this book included far more detailed handling notes, breeding observations, and do not attempt unless qualified instructions that students absolutely attempted anyway. Can you blame them? These versions described creatures like dragons, acromantulas, and nifflers with a tone that suggested curiosity first, consequences later. Hogwarts kept the early editions for academic completeness, and because rewriting magical zoology history would have been suspicious. The Forbidden Edge isn't dark magic, it's overconfidence. This book makes magical creatures sound manageable, which is how you end up with burns, bites, and at least one detention involving a forest. Later editions were softened for a reason. The originals, they trusted readers far too much. Landing at 14th place, Hogwarts A History, the book that knows everything and tells you almost nothing. Hogwarts A History is required reading, heavily referenced, and strategically incomplete. It documents the castle's founding, expansions, and notable events, while carefully skipping anything that might encourage exploration. Secret passages? Vague. Forbidden rooms? Footnotes. Actual dangers? Glossed over politely. Hogwarts keeps this book public because controlling the narrative is easier than controlling teenagers. The forbidden aspect isn't what's written, it's what's missing. Entire sections of castle history are sanitized, minimized, or quietly omitted, which is why Hermione reads it obsessively and still misses half of Hogwarts secrets. This book isn't dangerous because it reveals too much. It's dangerous because it convinces you that you already know enough. You don't. Sliding into 13th place, The Tales of Beedle the Bard, Original Wizarding Edition. Fairy tales that really should have stayed bedtime stories. The original Wizarding Edition of The Tales of Beedle the Bard isn't cute. It's dark, moralistic, and casually cruel. These stories were written to warn young witches and wizards, not comfort them, and they don't soften the lesson. This edition includes the tale of the Three Brothers, which introduces the Deathly Hallows like a fable and then quietly changes wizarding history forever. Hogwarts keeps the original because it's culturally important, and because pretending the Hallows don't exist went terribly last time. The Forbidden Edge is subtle. These stories normalize death, sacrifice, and consequences far beyond a child's understanding. They're fairy tales, they just happen to be true. At number 12, The Monster Book of Monsters, the only textbook that tries to bite back. This book is literally alive, and aggressively so. The Monster Book of Monsters is required reading for care of magical creatures, and it treats students as either threats or snacks. Unless properly restrained, it snaps, lunges, and attempts to maim on contact. Why is this at Hogwarts? Because the subject itself is dangerous. The book teaches students how to handle magical creatures by becoming one. The lesson is clear: control, patience, and respect, or you lose a finger. The Forbidden Edge isn't dark magic, it's physical harm. This book has injured more students than some curses, and that's before the lesson even starts. Hogwarts allows it because shielding students from danger doesn't prepare them for reality, but maybe one less set of teeth would have helped. At 11th place, Ancient Runes Made Easy Complete Editions. Easy doing a lot of lying. The complete editions go far beyond translating old alphabets. These versions include full rune arrays, binding inscriptions, and sustained enchantment formulas, the kind of magic that doesn't need a wand once it's set. This is the branch of magic used in protective enchantments, cursed objects, ancient vaults, and magical architecture. Runes are how spells stay active for centuries. One wrong symbol doesn't fail, it locks in the mistake forever. Students like Hermione take this subject seriously for a reason. Ancient runes underpin wards, contracts, and magical defenses used across the wizarding world, including Hogwarts itself. Hogwarts restricts these editions because rune magic isn't flashy combat, it's infrastructure. You don't duel with it, you trap, blind, and seal things long term, which makes mistakes inconvenient. Cracking the top 10, the essential defense against the dark arts. Harry Potter's favorite book, apparently. This isn't a textbook, it's a survival manual. Shield charms, counter curses, anti-jinxes, and fast response spells designed for situations where the other wizard is very much trying to end you. This is where spells like Expelliarmus show up in a serious way. And yes, Harry absolutely took that and decided it was the only spell he'd ever need again. Death Eater, Expelliarmus. Noseless Wizard, Expelliarmus. Sleepwalking classmate, still Expelliarmus. The book focuses on defensive efficiency, not flashy dark magic. How to block, how to counter, how to stay standing when things go wrong, which they do constantly. It becomes essential once Hogwarts quietly accepts a fact. Their students are growing up during a war, and homework has consequences now. Now, at 9th place, From Egg to Inferno, A Dragon Keeper's Guide, the book that assumes you've already accepted death. This is not a student textbook, it's a professional dragon handling manual that somehow exists at Hogwarts anyway. The book covers dragon breeding, egg incubation, feeding cycles, and very casually, how not to be incinerated. It details dragon species, flame temperatures, aggression triggers, and containment failures. All written with the calm tone of someone who has absolutely lost colleagues. And yes, this is basically the book Hagrid was using while illegally raising Norbert in a wooden hut. Which explains a lot. It even worked right up until the dragon had to be smuggled off to Romania, because keep it warm turns out not to be a long-term plan. This book doesn't teach magic, it teaches risk management badly. At 8th place, Spellman's Syllabary, the spell book Hogwarts hopes you'll never browse. This isn't a how-to guide, it's a historical registry of spells, charms, jinxes, hexes, and curses, listed alphabetically with minimal context. Some are obsolete, some are unstable, some are illegal for very good reasons. Professors use this book to identify spell effects after something has already gone wrong, because when magic explodes, knowing what caused it matters more than knowing who cast it. The problem? The book doesn't separate useful from catastrophic. A cleaning charm can sit right next to something that permanently alters a human body. No warnings, no skill checks, just names. The Forbidden Edge is access. This book treats all magic equally. Hogwarts locks it up because history matters, but flipping through it feels like like scrolling a menu you were never meant to order from. At 7th place, Moste Potente Potions, the book that ruined a perfectly good bathroom. This is the authoritative guide to extremely advanced potions, including Polyjuice Potion, the one Hermione used in second year to impersonate Slytherins and spy on Malfoy about the Chamber of Secrets. It worked, well, mostly. The book gives exact instructions for identity-altering brews. Assuming the reader is skilled, supervised, and capable of distinguishing ingredients correctly, Hermione nailed everything, except one detail. Human hair is not the same as cat hair. Result, weeks in the hospital wing and a very important lesson in ingredient verification. Hogwarts keeps this book restricted so professors can recognize illegal brews before they spread, not so students can try them in bathrooms. The forbidden edge isn't power, it's confidence. And confidence plus potions is how disasters brew. Entering 6th place, Advanced Potion Making Half-Blood Prince Edition, the moment potions stopped being polite. This is the same 6th year textbook everyone else gets, except this copy has been aggressively upgraded by the Half-Blood Prince. The handwritten notes don't suggest improvements, they overwrite the rules. Stir this way, add that later, ignore the instructions entirely. The result? Faster brews, cleaner reactions, potions that actually work the way they're supposed to. Harry follows the notes blindly and suddenly outperforms students who've been studying for years, including Hermione, which should have raised more questions than it did. The margins also contain original spells, experimental tweaks, and general tone of who approved this nonsense. Classic Snape. Top 5. Nature's Nobility, the book that ruins pure blood dinner parties. This is the definitive genealogy of wizarding families, tracing bloodlines, marriages, and magical inheritance across generations. It's dry, it's factual, and it's socially explosive. Flip through it and you'll find the Blacks, the Weasleys, the Malfoys, and a lot of inconvenient overlap. Families obsessed with purity appear connected to Muggles, half-bloods, and each other in ways they'd rather not discuss. It's also used by scholars to study inherited magical traits, recurring abilities, and long-term family patterns. Hogwarts restricts access not because it causes fights, but because once you read it, you can't unsee where everyone really comes from. At 4th place, a study of recent developments in wizardry, the book Hogwarts doesn't love but can't ignore. This isn't ancient theory, it's magic gossip in textbook form. New spells, experimental enchantments, controversial breakthroughs, everything that's changing right now before the Ministry decides whether it's legal. This book tracks modern magic responding to war, Muggle technology, and whatever bizarre TikTok dance they're doing this week, and political pressure. Some spells inside are half-tested, others openly contradict what professors taught a few years ago, and yes, some are quietly removed in later printings. This book doesn't feel like homework, it feels like reading notes you weren't meant to see yet, which explains why it's restricted and why everyone wants access anyway. Top 3. Magick Moste Evile. This is a book that should come with gloves, warning, and maybe a therapist. This ancient text predates Hogwarts and was donated to the library as a cautionary artifact, not a teaching manual. The idea was simple. Know what dark magic looks like so you don't accidentally recreate it. Irony noted. This is the book Harry opens in Philosopher's Stone, the one that immediately screams. A built-in security system that somehow passed inspection. The spells inside focus on curses meant to linger, escalate, and scar magically and emotionally. Hogwarts keeps it because destroying dark magic text doesn't erase dark magic, it just makes it harder to recognize. So they lock it up, label it forbidden, and hope no one's curious enough to open it. Well, spoiler, hope has never worked at Hogwarts. At number 2, Secrets of the Darkest Art, the book that turned library research into a lifelong villain arc. This is the most complete written source on Horcruxes ever allowed inside Hogwarts. It didn't end up there by accident. Early headmasters kept it as a reference not for students, but so professors could recognize dark magic before it showed up in practice. In theory, Tom Riddle found it anyway. He later tells Slughorn he'd been reading about Horcruxes in the library, which is Hogwarts code for someone messed up access control. The book is terrifying because of how calmly it explains soul splitting. No drama, no warnings, just process, cost, outcome. It reads like dark magic has already won the debate. Hogwarts keeps it locked up because banning knowledge entirely has historically gone poorly. They keep it hidden to understand the enemy. Unfortunately, curiosity lives here too. And finally, 1st place, the book that decides your Hogwarts letter before you can even hold a wand. The Book of Admittance works alongside the Quill of Acceptance, and together they do one thing: decide who is magical enough to be invited to Hogwarts. The moment a child shows signs of magic, the Quill attempts to write their name. Strong magic, the book slams shut and locks it in permanently. weak, unstable, or accidental magic, the quill hesitates, sometimes for years. That hesitation has consequences. If the quill never commits, the name never appears. No letter, no Hogwarts, no explanation. The system was enchanted by the founders themselves and has been operating autonomously ever since. No headmaster control, no ministry oversight, no appeals process. Dumbledore didn't manage it. McGonagall doesn't audit it. They trust it, because arguing with it has never gone well. This book is kept hidden deep within Hogwarts, protected by enchantments older than the school's staircases. It has recorded centuries of witches and wizards and quietly ignored countless others. Students think their journey begins with a letter. It doesn't. It begins with ink deciding your entire life. But don't worry, if you didn't get your Hogwarts letter, we've got options. In the next lesson, we explain all 11 wizarding schools in Harry Potter, so you can figure out where you actually belong. Click now before the Book of Admittance pretends you never existed.